Hello everyone, how is everyone doing? It's Future with AHI again, and this time we're having a very special edition. I already told you guys before now that we're going to be reviewing policies for the next couple of weeks, and today we're beginning with reviewing past agricultural policies. We're going to be looking at agric and the policies of agriculture, those that have failed, those that have helped agriculture grow better, those that we are still operating on even till now. We're going to be looking at all of these policies today, and we're going to be making suggestions as well as to what we can do better as far as agriculture is concerned. And with me today is Comrade Opialu is actually going to be talking to us about agri policies. You already know my name, right? My name is Patience Brimo, but I'm very sure you know my name. You know me. It's just the same me. So we're going to be reviewing agri policies, like I said, and it's Comrade that will be doing. I'm still shocked why I'm having Comrade review agri policies, but then yes. The comrade that I have today is a comrade that does public analysis of policies. He's not just a public analyst, he's also a farmer, a renowned farmer at that. So I'm actually just going to turn to comrade now, and let's welcome him to the program today. Thank you so much, comrade sir, for being with us in this program. Thank you for availing your time. So we're actually reviewing policies for agriculture for the next administration, which is very important. We already have president-elect and a vice president-elect. We're just concerned, as concerned citizens, we want to also let them know that there is a place for agriculture that they really need to look into. And thank God they have actually been talking about a lot of things during their campaigns. They did talk about so much about agriculture. And we just feel that it's time to also let them know better, to also help them to see more of the concerns of farmers and agric-inclined people. So thank you so much, comrade.
Thank you for having me on this program.
All right. My audience may want to just know you a bit, apart from being a renowned farmer and an analyst. Maybe you should just tell us.
My name's Comrade Opialu. I am a farmer by birth and training, because I am still farming, and I hope to continue farming. I am here to look at the policies of agriculture in Nigeria in the past, what we currently have, and what we shall be having based on the campaign promises of the government-elect. Looking at what we call policy, whether it is agricultural policy, educational policy, all policies are plans of actions that guide a government or a group to achieving a predetermined goal. And that means the policy need to have 4 key factors. Factor 1 is the policy should have a goal. The aim of the policy is that there is a goal that this policy needs to attain. Then those who are designing this policy should be those who have the mandate and the responsibility to do so. So that whatever policy they design will not just go and waste. Because if you don't have the mandate or the responsibility to do policy, you only do a paperwork, and it will only hang on the shelf and gather dust. So policies are done by those who have the mandate to do so. That is why we are setting up agenda for the incoming government, because they have our mandate now to govern us for the next 4 years. Yes, and then the policy makers have to take into cognizance the availability of resources and capacity. Sometimes we have policies that we do not have resources to implement, but we do not have the capacity to implement. So these are the key factors that the policy must have, well, be it agricultural policy or whatever policy.
All right, thank you so much. That's actually a very good foundation. So before we go into the various policies that we have for agriculture, talking about mandates, I want us to set this precedent to see that who are the people, because I'm sure going forward we'll be reviewing policies, especially the past policies in agriculture, those that are no longer working, and then we need to review them to set them straight and all that. And then you just mentioned that one of the key ingredients for policy development is that people that have the mandate should be at the forefront of policy development. Now, for agriculture, who would you liken to have the mandate to do this policy review? Are we going to start looking out for maybe people in agriculture, agribusiness, people with SMEs or farmers? Do you think calling all of these people to come around, let's review policy, let's do this, and what do you think about mandate as far as it concerns?
In the context of agricultural policy or policies in general, those with the mandate to develop policy are the people in government, the elected officers of government. They are those who have the mandate and the responsibility to design policies. But because they do not have the all-knowing capacity, professionals are brought into project policy design in consultation with the policy target or the policy audience. Like the African proverb will say, you cannot shave somebody's head in his absence. So you cannot design an agricultural policy without the agricultural stakeholders.
Yes.
Generally, the reason why many policies, many places in Africa and Nigeria in particular fail is that the policies are designed by somebody who sits in his air-conditioned office to design agri policy, or design educational policy, or design a transport policy. Because of his influence on the people in power, he pushes this policy through the people in power to the target audience. And in most cases, the input of this target audience are not included in this policy. And the implementation becomes difficult or impossible. So policy in agriculture should be designed by experts in conjunction with the agricultural stakeholders. And in Nigeria, agricultural stakeholders have considered themselves into farmers, cooperative groups, rice farmers association, other community farmers associations. So we have groups. Their needs, their challenges, their aspirations, their expectations are aggregated already in their submissions. This is what constitutes the ingredients of making an agricultural policy. And in this context, we have given our mandate to the elected government, the government to come. And this agricultural policy is not like any other policy. Agricultural policy is an aggregation of other policies. Because what policy you make in agriculture is a predetermination of other policies you make in other sectors. Like agriculture cannot be isolated from transportation. Agricultural policy cannot be isolated from education. Agricultural policy cannot be isolated from infrastructure. So in making agricultural policy, we look at all other sectors that are interconnected therewith. So that in making this policy, the farmers need road to move equipment, to move inputs, and to move the produce. So if you are making an agricultural policy without road infrastructural policy, it's going to fail. If we're talking about agricultural policy without infrastructural policy, like power supply, it's going to fail. Because we are talking about improving agriculture from the hoe and cutlass agriculture to mechanized agriculture. And mechanized agriculture needed the infrastructural support. We cannot isolate this policy from the credit or the financial policy. Because this agricultural policy needs financial input to buy machineries, to buy input, to pay labor, and to even rent land. Agricultural policy cannot be divorced from the land use policy, the land tenure system. The system of acquiring land in every country is a concomitant to agricultural policy. So agricultural policy is an aggregation of other policies. That is why we say experts are needed to be on board. The target audience of the policy, which is the masses who are going to consume the produce of the agriculture, because the agricultural policy has 4 other cardinal objectives or principles, which is the principle of food sustainability and sustenance, food sufficiency, autonomy, reliability, and self-survival. So if you are doing this policy, you have to bring all these things into focus. That the aim of the policy is food sufficiency. And the source of food sufficiency target audience is the masses. So when you're doing agri policy, you should be looking at the masses who are going to consume the products of the sector, and not even the farmers first. So you now just oppose the policy against the population of awaiting consumers of the agricultural produce and the agricultural practitioners themselves. And since agriculture is environmental dependent, we depend on rainfall. Majority of agricultural practice in Africa, in Nigeria particularly, is rain-fed agriculture. So you have to factor climatic changes into agricultural policy. And how do we mitigate climatic changes? All these things constitute the ingredients of agri-policy.
Thank you so much. This is very rich. At least the government, they know now that it is important to involve everyone as far as policy development in agriculture is actually concerned. Because there's no way you will have a sound policy for agriculture without bringing in infrastructure, without bringing in transportation, without bringing in finance and all of these things. It means that we know that everybody cannot be in the room to formulate the policy. If we say, oh yeah, the masses are actually very important for this policy, the farmers are important for this policy, but everybody cannot be in the room. That's why we have representatives. That's why we have stakeholders that are actually very instrumental to these things. So